Namaste and welcome to this final video of Vibhuti Pada. In the last video, we saw the definitions of Dharana, Dhyana and Samadhi. Then we moved on to the definition of Parinama Traya, that is Nirodha Parinama, Ekagrata and Samadhi Parinama. And then we saw what happens when one performs Sanyama on various things like sun, moon, etc. And the Siddhis the yogi attains. In this video, we will continue with the various Siddhis that the yogi attains through various Sanyamas. In the last video, we left off on what happens when one performs Sanyama on the knowledge of the Purusha. What happens is transcendental faculties concerning the sense organs is gained. Basically, the yogi becomes omnipresent, omnipotent, like the qualities that we spoke about Ishvara in the first chapter. When one knows the distinction between the seer and the seen and the true knowledge of the Purusha, then one becomes omnipresent, omnipotent, etc. Then Patanjali moves on to say that psychic powers are obstacles. Basically what he's trying to say here is all of these powers that a yogi attains can hinder his growth to the final goal, which is Kevalya or liberation, because they keep binding him to this world, and that is why they are obstacles. Then he says by mastery of Udana Prana. So Udana Prana is in the throat, and by mastery of this prana, levitation is gained. A yogi becomes as light as air and he is able to levitate. By mastery of Samana Vayu again is the digestive fire in the stomach, and by mastery of this, the body blazes. Then by Sanyama on the ear with respect to space, what happens? The yogi gains divine hearing. Basically, a yogi is able to listen to sounds beyond the human spectrum. His hearing becomes divine. He is able to listen to sounds throughout this world, anywhere and whatever type of sound. Then by Sanyama on body with respect to Akasha, he can move through space. Basically, he can move through anywhere. He can transcend anywhere. Then Patanjali describes Mahavideya. So Mahavideya is basically translated as universal mind. So understand this, our individual mind is full of kleshas, full of vrittis, etc. It is full of egoism. But when a yogi, performs Sanyama on Mahavideya, he comes in contact with universal mind. And how does he do so? So basically, what Patanjali says is a yogi needs to keep negating the contact with the sense organs and the mind. So when he keeps negating the contact between the sense organs and the mind, he will ultimately reach a state of the universal mind. And a universal mind is unaffected by the body-mind complex. And that is Mahavideya. So that is what he's speaking about. Then Patanjali moves on to describe the Sanyamas on the Mahabhutas. The Mahabhutas are basically Prithvi, Apa, Tejo, Vayu, Akasha. The 5 normal elements and their respective Tanmatras. So Tanmatras are basically subtle elements. For example, we can feel air by touch. So air is a Mahabhuta and touch becomes a Tanmatra. Similarly, we can smell the earth, right? So smell is a Tanmatra, Gandha and Mahabhuta is earth, Prithvi. So 5 Mahabhutas and their respective Tanmatras. So when one performs Sanyama on this, the 8 psychic powers are attained. 8 psychic powers are nothing but the Ashta Siddhis that we speak about. So Ashta Siddhis are Anima. Anima is basically becoming the smallest atom, Anu, that is Anima. Mahima is becoming the largest on this earth, that is Mahima. Laghima is becoming as light as air, like a leaf or a feather of a bird. Next is Garima. Garima is becoming absolutely heavy, even heavier than an elephant. Then there is Prapti. The Prapti is basically nothing but the capacity to reach anywhere. Then comes Prakyamya. Prakyamya is you can fulfill your desire according to your wish. So whatever you wish for will basically happen. Then comes Vishitva. Vishitva is basically control over all objects, all animate and as well as inanimate objects. Then comes Ishitva. Ishitva is the capacity to create and destroy at will. So basically, a yogi gains all of these Ashta Siddhis, and plus these Ashta Siddhis, the perfection of body is attained. With the perfection of body comes vigor, energy, and a lot of other things. Basically, the body becomes shining, etc. and all of that. Now, then he says, by Sanyama on Grahana, Swarupa and Asmita, three things: sight, your own form, Swarupa, and Asmita, ego. So by Sanyama on these 3 things, one gains mastery over the sense organs. And also Vikarna Bhava. So Vikarna Bhava is basically complete control over the Indriyas and transcending the Indriyas in a sense. So basically whatever happens is, normally our senses normally follow the objects. Suppose I'm seeing something, so my eye will automatically follow that thing. But when Vikarna Bhava takes place, I have complete control over my eyes. So if I don't want to see it, I won't see it, basically. And with the mastery of the sense organs comes three things. Conquest of Prakriti. What it means is, you will be beyond the gunas, you will become gunatita, as said in the Bhagavad Gita. So you will, basically sattva, rajas, tamas will be in you, but they won't affect you. Then comes attainment of the speed of the mind. Basically your mind will be absolutely pure and be self-illumined. Then comes freedom to function without any instruments. So basically eyes, ears, nose, etc. are instruments through which the body functions. You won't require them to function. Basically you will be able to see without eyes, you will be able to walk without legs. So again, this is a bit of an abstract concept, but just remember that Sayyama on Grahana, Swarupa and Asmita, mastery of sense organs are gained, Vikarna Bhava takes place, and by this, these three things happen. Then we come to the final aspect, the end of Vibhuti Pada, in which Patanjali speaks about the awareness of the difference between the Chitta and the Purusha. So what happens is, normally we confuse our Chitta for the Purusha. We normally have that in us that I am the doer of my actions, and that is the Chitta talking, that I am the doer. But when this distinction is not there, that we know that we are not the doer, but something else is helping us do things, that is the awareness of the difference between Chitta and Purusha, you become omnipotent. Omnipotent means all powerful, omniscient means all knowing, and Viveka Khyate takes place. Viveka Khyate, as explained earlier, is nothing but the discriminative knowledge between the real, the unreal, eternal, uneternal, etc. And with this, what happens? The seed of bondage that we have, the avidya that we have, the ignorance that we have is completely destroyed, and Kevalya is attained. So Kevalya is again derived from the term which Keval. Keval means only one, without others. It means isolation, absolute one. So with this, he also says the causes of downfall. So what happens is, when a yogi on his sadhana is progressing on this path, there are a lot of causes of downfall. The two causes of downfall that he mentions is attachment and pride. So moha and pride. So what he says is, attachment and pride will cause the yogi to be drawn to these siddhis, and basically what will happen is, he will manifest these siddhis in the world and forget his yogic path. So basically he should be aware that these attachment and pride should not draw him away from this yogic path. Then finally, by Sayyama on Shana. Shana means basically time, a moment of time. So a yogi should be aware of the ceaseless flow of moment, from moment to moment, how the time flows, and by Sayyama on Shana, and what happens? Viveka Jnana happens. Basically discriminative knowledge of the real, unreal, etc. flows. And by this, the transcendental knowledge is known, and attainment of Kevalya happens. Again, there is not much in this chapter apart from basically Sayyama on the various things and what the siddhis it leads to. The Ashta Siddhis are very important, and as in the last video I spoke about, the Sayyamas on various things and what they ultimately give, the siddhis that are attained, are very important. In the next video, we will conclude with the final chapter, with the final pada. Thank you so much.